All right, what's going on, folks? Long time no see. Today we're going to be changing the power steering pump in a 2005 Dodge Dakota. First time we get it jacked up and all that other good stuff, and then we'll kind of go into some of the details on what you got to do. But ultimately, it's just you got to disconnect the reservoir and the high pressure line from this thing, and then there's like 3 bolts that hold it in place, and then it just comes right out. So hopefully it's that easy. What's up, guys? Okay, so it's been a couple days. This power steering pump, this is going to be like a little preface after the intro, because you need to know this before you kind of get into this. It's been a couple days with this power steering pump. It's been a pain in the butt. I got a new one with a pulley already installed on it, but no reservoir. I would have had to switch my old reservoir onto my new one. I ultimately ended up having problems with leaking, and I just couldn't fix it. So the important thing to note, when you do this, I guess on this particular vehicle, you need to buy a power steering pump with the pulley and a reservoir already on it, preferably just a Mopar product. So unfortunately you'll have to splurge on this one, otherwise you're just gonna have leak issues and yada yada yada. You can get one on Rock Auto for like $200 for its 2005 Dodge Dakota 3.7 liter V6 4-wheel drive. $200 with a $50 core return, so after you return the core you get $50 back, so it's really $150. But that's it, and then after this we'll go into the video, and I'm probably gonna cut out the part where I like transfer the reservoir onto the new one. Keep in mind, the new one in the video is the one that I had to basically just scrap. Like, I paid $116 for it. I couldn't even use it. I had some leaking, and the pump itself wouldn't even work. Like, whenever I turned it on, even though, like a little drippage from the reservoir, I would think shouldn't cause something like that, but I don't know. There might have been a blockage in it too. Who knows? But buy one with the reservoir and the pulley like complete. So all you got to do is just take the old one out, put the new one in, put the belt on, put the fluid in, burp the system, which I did not cover too much in this. I'm gonna do like a separate little video right at the end that I'll tag on for burping, which is covered in my steering rack video, if you guys want to look at that too. So thank you. So, let me see. Yeah, first things first, we need to take the Serpentine belt off. So, that won't be hard. It's a good time to replace your Serpentine belt. Let's see, I do actually have a new one. I've had this one for a while. Just need to put it on. Okay. Figure out. Maybe have a big to medium. Guessing 16 or an 18. Your tensioner pulley is this one right here on the far left. Feels close. I think 15 or 14. I guess I don't think it's. I think it's probably a 15. Right. To the left. Oh, what the hell? What's supposed to happen? Okay, so to the right is what loosens the tension. It's interesting. Not expecting that. I'm expecting it to go to the left. But okay. That one will probably be fun to put back on later. This little thingamajigger out of the way. That's lovely, lovely nasty stuff. Maybe a little drip pan down there. Catch all that stuff. Old belt. Ain't been changed in who knows how long. So she probably needed it. Okay, so now we gotta take off the hose that's on the bottom of the reservoir. Grab some needle nose pliers. It's gonna make a nice little mess too, but it's all good. We've got plenty of ATO, plenty of transmission plenty of fluid. Let's just say that. For Dakota, transmission fluid goes in the power steering. So, all right. So it's clamped on right there. See if we can get our clamps in here, possibly. Push that down. So that's that in grand fashion. Next thing we do is to disconnect the high pressure hose from the pump on the bottom, and actually we'll need to reconnect like psyching myself out on whether this thing's in a good spot. Okay, so in order for you guys to get this next thing off, you're definitely going to need a flare wrench, which is like one of these. So flare nut wrench, you can get them at most stores and stuff. So that is a pretty decent size. Okay, couple sizes bigger. Just keep these in my specialty tools area. So let's see. Yeah, so this has still got a lot of fluid in it, which is fine. It can stay there the way it is. All right. So that was a 15 side. I'm thinking this might be a 16, not a 17, because that's 15 at 17. 15 wasn't quite big enough, so you don't want to. This is a 16. 16 on this side. Not the angle of this thing. I keep wanting to know if the angle of this thing is like right. I feel like it's okay. Maybe 16. See how 16 feels. Seems really not quite big enough, huh? Interesting. So I guess 17 it is. What the hell? Thing off. Maybe. Not sure. I feel like it would be. I really feel like it would be an even number. Maybe it's not even a millimeter. It's not millimeters. Kind of wrench. Might not have to have a flare nut wrench for this. My flare nut's in metric. That's not great. Okay, so set that back where it was. Figure out what in standard size we put this. That's too loose. Go down 5/8. Alright, cool. Still rolling. Okay, so we've almost got our pump all the way back in, our new one. You know, you guys saw I put this reservoir on the new one. It was pretty easy. Getting it off the old one was a bit of a pain in the butt, but this pulley on this one was a lot nicer, had a lot more room on the inside. So it worked out really well. The bolts, there's 3 bolts that hold this power steering pump reservoir on. All 3 of them are 10 millimeter. The 3 bolts that hold the power steering pump onto the engine are, let's see, they are 1/2 inch. Yes, they're 1/2 inch. What else? You got your my reservoir tube here, just reattach that, and then I got to put my high pressure line into the pump and then reattach my serpentine belt and turn it on, see what it does. So see what it do. I'm gonna replace my battery. This battery's going down. So, hope and dream here is that when I reattach this high pressure line, that fluid doesn't go spraying everywhere. Let's see. Here is the high pressure line. Get down there. Need something to pull that off with. Should have taken that stupid thing off. Put it on down here, but what is it, like a twisty? Oh, cool. It's a little twisty. Sure, that's. Seems like she's doing pretty good. Get it on there. Hand tight. Bring it all. The rest of the way. Have to hold it good. All right. Belt on. Built. Put it on from the bottom. From the bottom. It comes out the bottom, you gotta put it on from the bottom, unless you wrap it underneath. Mm-hmm. Unless you wrap it underneath. Oh. That wouldn't be good. What's going on, man? Doing good. Oh, she's doing good. She's doing good. She was born on the 23rd. Yeah. So she's doing good. She's doing good. All right, man. You have a good one. Whew. I don't know if I can. Yeah, you're supposed to. You know, that's actually not a bad idea. That's what me and Tim did. What you do? This doesn't seem tight enough. No, I mean, I know they're supposed to be tight, but it seems like a loose belt. It should be harder. It really should be harder than that to get that on, but I mean, I'm not going to complain too much. I guess having this kind of helps. But, all right. I'll put some juice in this thing and see what it'll do. Still gotta kind of get some of those air bubbles out. think I have burped it before. I've burped my power steering before. Okay, so burping the system at the end this is what you need to do. This is what you do after you have the new pump in and you put fluid in the reservoir till it says it's full on the dipstick. You will jack up the front of the vehicle until the tires are off the ground. Right now they're on the ground, but jack up the front of the car until the tires are off the ground. Obviously put your parking brake on before you do it, and all you're going to do is, without the vehicle on, the vehicle is completely turned off, you take the power steering cap off and you just move the wheel all the way to the right, all the way to the left, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, like 4 or 5 times. You'll hear some bubblies, you know, bubbling up. You go over there, you put the dipstick in, pull it out. You'll probably need to put a little bit more in. You put a little bit more in, and you just rinse and repeat the process until you don't have the level like stops dropping down, so like all the air bubbles get out. And then with it raised up, what I did was I turned it on. I did the same thing. Obviously anytime you turn it on, you have to have the cap down, like you have to have the cap on. So I turned it on and went back and forth just to check to make sure the pump was working. When the pump is working, you'll feel that it's a lot easier to move the wheel left and right whenever it's, even when it's jacked up too. So that's just a check on to make sure that everything's working right. And then after that, you put it down. This is the phase that I'm at. You put the truck down on the ground and then you move it back and forth just to make sure the pump's working properly. It should be really easy to turn the wheel. That's how you know the pump's working. We'll go for a test drive, let it sit for a while, recheck the fluid, and then just kind of add a little bit here and there as needed. Also a good thing to do before you go for your little test drive, let it sit for a minute and run, and get you a flashlight and look underneath to make sure there's no leaking. There's a high pressure line. It's got like a U-turn, like a U-shaped kind of turn. That's where you want to look for leaks, there and at the bottom, at the very bottom of the reservoir. You might see drippage. You shouldn't if you get a brand new pump with all the stuff already attached and everything. So, but if you do, then you need to return it and just tell them that you did all the proper checks before you put it in. Like, don't tell them you actually installed it and found a leak. You got to tell them that you like went to flush it and there was a blockage or there was a drippage from the reservoir before you went to install it. Because if you tell them you installed it, then they'll tell you that, oh, you can't refund the product. So, but anyways, I'm going a little ride and make sure she works. Some of the things you guys want to listen for, any kind of whining, which could be your transmission if you're having transmission problems. But the biggest thing about my pump, the telltale sign that my pump was going bad beforehand, because it didn't just go bad on me and I replaced it. I knew it was going bad, so I just went ahead and replaced it. Whenever I would start the vehicle, especially when it's cold out, I would hear a whine, like a very loud whine, for just a few seconds, or when it's really cold, it would stay on for like five seconds. So the colder it was, the longer it would whine before it warmed up and stopped whining. And I also know that I probably damaged the pump a little bit whenever I was doing my steering rack swap, because I had a leak in the rack whenever I went out for a test drive, and my test drive was probably a little bit too long of a distance. So I think I kind of drained the reservoir a little bit too much and ended up hurting the pump. Ever since that day, I started hearing whining from the pump, so I knew at some point it would go bad. It was just a matter of how many winters it would take. But everything sounded pretty good. You want to listen, you can kind of roll down the window a little bit. Listen whenever you make a turn. Sounds good, no sounds. It's good. So I do believe our pump is in good shape. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. I know a lot of these videos are really long, but I try to make them as long as and as detailed. I really just try to make them as detailed as possible, because I know some people are looking for that. A lot of times when I do these things, I'm looking for that. People do such a brief video, it's kind of irritating, because you know, you have like little tiny things that you want to know before you get into it, so that you know completely what you're getting into. But yeah, thanks again. Like, subscribe, comment, and stay tuned for more. The next project we're going to do on this thing is going to be a transmission service. So see you guys later.